providing me an opportunity to talk on a topic which is of One Health importance. Actually, I am not here presenting only on the anthrax. What exactly I want to tell to the audience, the August audience, is that how best One Health approach can be adopted in our country, even though we have got a lot of difficulties to collaborate between the intersectoral collaborations. But this is the project where we thank actually even the Penn State, USA for funding this project, and it's a multi-sectoral collaborative project which we have worked with the medical colleges, ICMR, ICAR, and even with the veterinary universities across this country. And based on the already available data, we started this project, and in the last 2 to 3 years, we have achieved a commendable improvement. And how best anthrax can be mitigated by collaborating with the different sectors has been shown in this particular study. So coming to the presentation itself now, even though the topic is related to the Karnataka only, but not only the Karnataka, the whole other states are also involved, and the partners who have exactly done the work on this anthrax for the different states, I am going to present on that. And why we have selected this particular anthrax as a study case? Because it's not only the One Health collaborations, what I am going to present today, it's restricted to anthrax, because I call upon to cooperate between the different sectors, between human and public health, mainly for the tuberculosis also, brucellosis, leptospirosis, and so many other zoonotic diseases. This is just a glimpse of what we have done in anthrax. Why we have selected the anthrax? Because we know that anthrax is a zoonotic disease, and it causes 100% mortality in case of the animals. It is a deadly disease in case of animals. However, in case of the humans, it has not got that much significance, because it can be treated in case of the humans unless until the visceral organs or the systemic infection happens. The gastrointestinal form or different forms are the one which are responsible for the outbreak of or the death of the humans. Otherwise, generally the treatment can happen in case of the humans, but in case of the animals, it's 100% mortality has been seen in this. That is the perception why we have selected this particular this one. This is a slide which clearly tells why not the other diseases, why we have selected anthrax in this particular case study. That is, from the last 30 years data, which are published by different government organizations and different national and international journals across the India, we have checked it, and we have found that anthrax is one of the important disease which is finding out to be a number of outbreaks have been seen both in animal sector also and public health sector also. For example, you can see on the right side corner, there are more than 1,775 outbreaks have been noticed in last 20 to 30 years. That is just number of outbreaks. Imagine the number of animals which have died due to that particular OBRs, that is outbreaks. It is running out to be several thousands. Similarly, in case of the humans, when we see across the last 20 to 30 years, every year there are human cases which have been noticed in different parts of the country wherever the animal anthrax have been noticed. That is almost 174 cases we have reported, or the outbreaks have been reported in humans. So when we come across what is the pattern of this particular disease, whether is it a seasonal influential disease is there, or a particular part of the year we can notice this particular disease, it is been noticed that throughout the year the infections are reported. And this disease, we thought initially that the great Louis Pasteur thought that this disease can be controlled by going for the prophylactic mass vaccination in an effective manner, especially in case of the animals. But unfortunately, due to the presence of the spores, which are highly resistant and which are soil-borne, and the organism can survive in the soil or the environment for hundreds together years. So controlling and containing this particular infection in case of the animals is mainly by the vaccination. So coming to the prevalence of this disease across the months of the year, almost every month the disease reports have been noticed, but the prevalence has gone up, or the cases have gone up mainly immediately after the monsoon season. That is, in the month of June, July, August, the cases have been predominantly high when compared to the other parts of the year. And it has been noticed same in case of the animals also, and the same reports have happened even in case of the animals also. When we try to correlate it with rainfall, the rainfall was correlating. That is, immediately after the dry season, once the rain starts coming down heavily, the spores which were there on the soil, which started coming up onto the soil. And animals which have started grazing the soil, along with the soil, they consumed the spores also. And once the spore gets entry into the animal body, that gets into the vegetative form and the infection will be there. Similarly, when an infection is there in a particular area, the farmers who are directly or indirectly consuming the infected meat, they are going to get this particular infection. And this is again, we have noticed this particular infection in the South India and the Eastern India. So when we cross-check it between the South Indian states and the Eastern Indian states, the pattern remains to be same. Means almost all the disease has been noticed in the same periodic months of the monsoon across this year of the particular year. And why this particular disease has been selected, that's what I have told, because it is there in the humans also and in case of the animals. And when we go for the IDSP data and the different, this one, in the animal, that is the left map of the India, which is clearly shown that animal anthrax cases are more predominant in case of the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Orissa. But on the contrary, in case of the human cases, which we have noticed are more predominant in case of the Orissa and the West Bengal, mainly because of the tribal population which are present in these states, they have got an habit of consuming the meat without cooking or boiling. The spore consumption along with the meat might have led to the infection in case of the human, and systemic infections have been cropped up in case of the human. That's what the maps which are clearly correlating that it is more in case of the Eastern India in case of the humans, but on the contrary, it is South Indian states in case of the animals. And this is coming to our particular study in case of the Karnataka. This is the lab confirmed data which I am presenting. This is the cases which have been identified in our own lab from the animal data. Almost 173 outbreaks have been noticed from the last 15 to 20 years till 22. And out of that, almost 173 different months of the year when we have seen, again from June, July, August, the mono number of cases have been confirmed in the laboratory, our own lab. And coming to the Karnataka itself, there is an endemicity based on that, where the disease has been noticed across the state from the last 20 to 25 years. There are 7 to 8 districts are endemic to this particular infection because of the predominant sufficient support of the soil to this particular organism. So the spores are going to be remained viable for a longer period in this case. Similarly, the human infections are coming across in the same districts. That is why controlling the infection in case of the animals have indirectly controlled the infection of the humans also. And the public health cooperation by extensive activities have led to this control and infection, and this study has clearly proved that actually. And in case of the North Karnataka and South Karnataka, when we have differentiated, it is more predominant in case of the southern, some of the districts of Bangalore, around Bangalore rural, and other predominant districts of the Karnataka when compared to the other districts. And we have selected 3 study sites based on the data which is already lab confirmed report also, and based on the already published data of the last 20 to 25 years. 3 sites we have selected. That is one in northern Karnataka, that is Koppal, Vijayanagar, or the Ballari, which is adjoining to the Telangana. And even Tumkur, it is in the South Karnataka, and Chikballapur also in the South Karnataka, because based on the previous number of cases which we have seen. And these are some of the cases which have been clearly shown that once the infection is there, that's what when the sheep consumes the grass, along with the grass, it consumes the soil also. When the spores enters into the body, the animal starts dying. And the farmers and the other people who consume the meat of this particular sheep, or they are associated with this particular infection, when we came across the public health authorities of the local veterinary medical hospitals, and even we approached the medical colleges of that particular region also, we have created an extensive knowledge about this particular infection. And similar type of infection in case of the humans also have been noticed in that areas. That is a malignant carbuncles like structures on the skin. When it is being consumed, automatically there is a systemic infection leading to the problems. And once the lab confirmation that has been done based on special characteristics with the staining and cultural isolation and identification, molecular biological techniques, because we need to prove that the isolate what we have done is a pathogenic one. Based on the OHA primers, we have clearly identified that whatever the isolates we have got are positive for this anthrax. And why we have selected this particular targets is based on the sheep migratory pattern of the India. That is, the shepherds are moving from one place to the other place. Whenever the shepherds are moving from the one place to the other place, they are carrying this particular infection. That's why these sites have been selected, and the infection has been noticed across the different states of India. And coming to the role of the soil, that's what I was telling, that why only certain areas are predominantly showing this particular infection when compared to the others. The soil factors or the environmental factors have clearly played a role. In the endemic areas, when we collected the soil and soil characters have been analyzed, the pH of the soil is little alkaline in the endemic areas when compared to the non-endemic areas. Similarly, the presence of calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, everything was on the higher side, which clearly helping in the presence of the spores for a longer duration in this particular soil, leading to the survivability of the organisms for the more duration. And coming to the rainfall pattern also, it has been studied. It clearly indicates that these particular areas have clearly shown that if there is a prolonged period of a dry spell, suddenly then the rainfall will come, leading to the moisture accumulation and the prevalence of the spores onto the soil surface for more period. This is nothing but the confirmation of the organism based on the OHA, that is WHO, like in case of the humans, that is the animal OHA primers we have used to prove that for the capsule and the protective antigen, that is to show that the organism is the one what we have isolated is a pathogenic or not, and all the factors are there for the causing of this particular infection or not. And when whatever the isolates we have identified in particular this project from the different states, whether it is in Andhra Pradesh, Orissa or Karnataka, we have tried to see that whether they belong to the same strain or the different strain by going for the whole genome sequence. It was clearly found out that in Karnataka there is Austin strains or Wollam strains are more prevalent, but however in case of the Andhra Pradesh it is Austin strains, and in case of the Orissa it was mainly the Stern spares were the more prevalent. And within the Karnataka, between the species and between the districts also we have studied, it clearly indicated that as the migratory pathway, that is the shepherds, started moving from the one place to the other place, the infection also rolled on to the different areas. This again the same slide which is clearly indicating that. And this is the team which clearly involved in this, more than the 10 organizations, that is the public health organizations like the ICMR is involved, ICR is involved, and some medical colleges are involved, veterinary universities are involved. The intersectoral collaboration in this project. For example, we have gone to a particular site, there is an outbreak of the anthrax, then immediately we have advised the farmers to go for the vaccination to prevent the further episodes of the anthrax. Immediately we approached the public health authorities of that place and the medical colleges and especially the community medicine professors, and we have told them there are any human cases in that particular area, what to be done and how to go about the approach. The extension methodologies have been followed by creating more and more awareness. Then human cases have been avoided in that particular districts. Now, because of the extensive methodologies, what we have followed with the One Health approach, these endemic areas across the country, in the different states, this particular disease has been contained in our study in the last 3 years. And these are some of the extension activities which we have carried out by going for the farmers, approaching them, telling about this particular infection, what need to be done immediately when the animal has to be brought from the different places, how the methodologies has to be adopted, whether to go for the vaccination or not, and all those things has been clearly told to the farmers. And farmer being a human and he can get infection from this particular organism, how to take the precautions, what need to be done in case of an eventuality happens, or to avoid the consumption of the meat as it is without boiling to be avoided so that the spore consumption by the humans can be avoided. That type of the extension activities involving the public health authorities, even the forest officials have been involved in these particular projects so that a specific target population has been approached and the infection has been controlled to a larger extent. This is the pamphlets for doing the extension activities in our local language, even in English and other things we have created, and different investigation studies. That's what I have told. What we have approached to the different places of the farmers across the state has been done by our team. Similarly, it has been done by the Orissa team, and in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, everybody has done the same work. And the conclusion, what we have achieved in this particular project is by effective intervention, especially if we do proper intervention we can control we can manage to control this particular anthrax infection mainly by the intersectoral collaboration. One Health approach can be best effectively utilized like this, even in case of the tuberculosis also, even in case of the brucellosis also, leptospirosis, and so many other diseases. How best we can adopt the One Health approach between intersectoral collaboration by creating awareness, by rapid response to a particular outbreak, both teams, that is not only from the veterinary side, even if the public health side also, if they counter-react with these particular cases, then more effectively we can control these particular infections from the community itself, so that from the society we can avoid further spread of this disease from one place to the other place. That's what we have proved in this, and a lot of works are going on in the background, different strain variation, molecular biology works are going on, different strain variations we are studying in this particular project, and even the serological effect also. That's the vaccination we are doing it, how best the vaccine is going to protect, whether the vaccine is really protecting in case of the animals. Similarly, what best the single dose vaccination is sufficient or multiple doses of the vaccine need to be given, cost effectiveness of that vaccine, all those studies we are doing it in a longer run. It is a further continuation of project is going on. This is a part of the project which I am presented here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shivaraj, for this excellent presentation. So you have shown how the surveillance, effective surveillance for this anthrax has helped preventing human cases and also adopting preventive measures in the animal population. So an excellent talk. I think there are few minutes for questions. So if there are any questions from the audience.
What is the status of trying to immunize animals against anthrax?
It's a Stern spore vaccine strain, sir. That is the Stern spore vaccine strain. It's a non-capsulated one, which doesn't cause the infection. The same way is going to be used in case of the animal vaccination.
I know, but what is the status? How many animals are vaccinated? Is there a policy that we should try to eliminate anthrax on the food-producing animals in this country?
Yeah, right now the policy what they have adopted is based on the outbreaks, based on the data which has been published almost from the last 20 to 25 years, based on the NADRES animal disease data from the government of India. Certain pockets of every state has been identified as an endemic for this particular infection. Only that particular districts or that particular blocks, they are going for the vaccination. 100% vaccination or the 100% susceptible population, that is large animal, that is cattle, that is bovine, and in case of the small animals, that is ovine and that is sheep and goats are being vaccinated. Not across the state, across the South India. Only specifically endemic areas, they are going for the vaccine.
That sounds like a reactive policy rather than a proactive policy, because I think what we really should be aiming for is eradication of anthrax from our food production cycle completely, in toto.
The initial policy, what they thought being the live Stern spore vaccine, they don't want it to go for a place, because this is being a spore-related vaccine, the spore-related organism, and the vaccine being the spore-related vaccine only. They don't want it to inject the animal with the spore in a newer area without studying for a longer duration of the mutation of that particular organism in the body, because there is an in vivo studies conducted by the DRDO scientists. They tell that the organism or the spores, once they go into the body, gets into the vegetative form, the non-capsulated organism may get converted to the capsulated organism. That is a hypothesis still. It has not been proved yet. It is being studied in the small animals model only, not in the large animal model. So they don't want the decision or the policy makers, they thought that only wherever the disease reports are there, to indirect approach only they are trying to do it rather than the proactive, as you said, sir, right? The proactive policy, by using this vaccine in non-reported areas, they are not trying to do it as of now. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Shivaraj.